So we'll start off, so the name of the webinar is Getting the Most from Twinkl as a Home Educator. We do 3 webinars in a kind of rotating series. So this is sort of aimed at people who perhaps signed up, looking to sign up, maybe not new to home educating, but perhaps experiencing a little bit of overwhelm with the whole Twinkl site and everything that there is on offer. So we just look to break things down a little bit and reduce that overwhelm and give you some starting points. We also run a webinar which is aimed at people who are brand new to home educating, and the 3rd webinar in the series is aimed at those of you who home educate secondary learners as well. So you can look out for those over the coming weeks and months. But first of all, before we go any further, I'll just introduce myself properly. So I'm Alistair, the Home Education Manager here at Twinkl, and I home educate, my wife and I home educate our 3 kids and have done for a good few years now. So obviously I have a vested interest in trying to support home educating families, and yeah, love doing this job and trying to help and support, as I say, home educating families. And I'm joined by Rachel this evening, also from the Home Ed team, who is one of our fantastic video content creators, who some of you may have seen hosting our live Pathfinders nature studies lessons that are run on a weekly basis. So I'll let you say hello, Rachel.
Hi, yep, so I'm Rachel. I home educate 3 kids as well, but mine are younger than Alistair's. My oldest is 8, my youngest is 4. And yeah, also have a vested interest in this because I definitely found Twinkl overwhelming when I started it. And so I think it's going to be beneficial to figure out kind of not just how it works, but how like you as individuals can access it the best way for you and your home ed style. I think will be helpful.
Yeah, and obviously we can't cover everything in this hour, and I think as we've hosted this webinar, we have kind of refined it a little bit. And I think in initial versions we tried to do too much, and we ended up creating more overwhelm by trying to cut down on the overwhelm. So yeah, it's more of a kind of scratch the surface thing tonight, but we just hope that people will find something useful, something that they can take away, something that they can explore further into, and just some points of contact where you can find us, and yeah, just a starting point really. So a little overview of Twinkl to begin, a little bit of history. So the company has been growing now for over 12 years, began as a resource site to support teachers. Now it's a huge global digital educational publisher. A significant change that happened in Twinkl several years ago is that the approach was segmented a little bit more. So there was a growing awareness that different groups of people were accessing the site for, you know, under the common umbrella of, you know, looking for resources to teach and to educate, but were coming at it from very different angles. So the segments were born, and the home education team was born probably about 4 years ago now, with the specific purpose of better serving the needs of home educating customers. We've talked about overwhelm. I've now seen it on the site somewhere that it says we have over 1 million resources. So there's plenty to keep you going on rainy days and so on. But one of the things that we want to try and get across this evening is we're about a lot more than just worksheets. And sometimes that's a bit of a common misconception about Twinkl, that it's just about printing stuff off to busy stuff off to keep kids busy. So hopefully we can challenge that perception this evening. Right, so we're going to just break things up into a few clear sections, hopefully. And the first thing that we're going to look at is where to find the Twinkl Home Ed team. So those points of contact that I mentioned earlier. So in terms of channels of communication, we are very active on social media. We have created what we think is a fantastic online community of home educators, sort of supporting and inspiring each other. And we'll talk a little bit about social media in a second. Probably our most important point of contact with you is our weekly email, which, if you've got all your settings set up in the default setting, you should receive at 8 AM on a Sunday. Now, we do have people sort of complain about not getting it. I think sometimes spam filters can interfere and stop that from coming through. But we do have a manual send list as well. So if you, this is an example here of the what the email looks like. If you don't get that, then do get in touch with us via one of our social media channels, or we do have an email address, homeed@twinkl.co.uk, and let us know that you're not getting the email and you'd like to be on the list, and we can sort that out. And that is, you know, every week chock full of all of the things that we're up to, all of the new resources that we're bringing you, all of the collaborative learning opportunities and updates on all the things that we're going to talk about this evening. And the third avenue of communication that is well worth keeping an eye on, I think that'll link to it, is this is just a page on the Twinkl website, the Twinkl Education blog, lots and lots of sections for different segments, as we mentioned before. But if you can find that, you can do it quickly and easily by just typing blog in the search bar and then click on Home Education. You will get this array of blogs which support some of the work that we're doing and are written specifically, again, to sort of support and direct home educating parents. So those are three really key ways that you can find the stuff and keep in touch with what we're up to. Don't know if you want to add anything to that, Rachel, or whether that's self-explanatory.
Yeah, I think the other good thing to know is if you get the weekly email, and you can get a free resource every week from that. So that's a good way if you want to try out some of the bigger resources, or something that you like just wanted to just have a good look at, then that's another good way of using that email as well. Yeah,
good point. Okay, so we talked about our social media presence, so we'll just talk you through some of our channels. So we have a YouTube channel, we have 3 video content creators on the team. So we do make quite a lot of video content. We feel like it's a useful way to communicate what we're up to, what's on, you know, break down a little bit what's on the Twinkl website, and provide stuff that's of lasting value. So you can find all of that on our YouTube channel. I will show you the front page of the YouTube channel in a minute, linked to another slide. So that's a great place to check out. Rachel, you're probably best placed to introduce the Instagram, our Instagram account.
Yeah, so we know that some people really find Instagram a helpful place for home ed community, and so we kind of tend to be a bit more about talking about some of the ups and downs of home ed we talk about on there. And then there's always me or someone else kind of for direct messages if people have questions. Some people find it a lot easier just shoot a message there. And then we advertise like our new resources and so on as well there. But yeah, there's lots of kind of different ways to access us, and Instagram for some people is just a nice, quick, easy way.
And that's at Twinkl Home Educators, isn't it, on Instagram? Facebook was where we started building our online community, and it's probably still, just about the most important channel for us. We have 2 groups. We have a secondary Facebook group, and we have a main Facebook group, and those are both very active, particularly the main group. You know, we're talking sort of 10, 15, 20 posts a day, anything and everything we share in there. It's a great way for us to keep you up to date with what's going on. And again, it's the home of some of our kind of collaborative learning opportunities too. We also have a page on Facebook, which is helpful if you want to share some of the things we're doing outside of people in our group, because our group is set to private, and it's only home educators or those seriously considering home educating who are let into that group. So it's very much a safe space. And then to a lesser degree, we also have a presence on Pinterest, and we are on Twitter too. So yeah, those are the places you can find us. Anything else from you on those, Rachel?
No, that sounds great.
Cool. And then the last point about where you can find us, I was just going to mention that we do have a home on the Twinkl website. So you can find it, hopefully if you're registered to Twinkl as a home educator, you should have a button on this bar at the top, which takes you to this home page. And this is our, as I say, our home on the Twinkl website. So it's got lots of the carousel here at the top will tell you about what we've got going on at the moment. We'll give you quick links through to some important places. We've also got popular routes into the site. So we've got something here for lap books, popular resources like maths, mysteries are picked out. And then we've got our categories linked to sort of ways that you might spend a day or ways you're looking to learn, and subjects. And then we've got some useful links at the bottom. And then finally, some links to the best loved and used other Twinkl products by home educators. So this is a really good place to visit regularly. As I say, the carousel will keep you updated. And this is where the resources that we make specifically for home educators live. So well worth mentioning. Yeah, as it says here, home for new resources. And we are working, looking forward to doing some work on sort of streamlining those categories as well, because some of them are quite big at the moment. We really want to slim it down. So it's just resources that have been made by the Home Ed team that you will find in there. So that's an ongoing piece of work. Right, so that's a little bit of an introduction to where you can find us. The next thing we wanted to talk about is, I guess, kind of quick way-ins to what's offered by Twinkl. So these, the focus or the point of this section is to cover things that you can just, that already are there, they exist, they're ready-made for you, and you can just pick up and use them. So it's called Off the Peg Learning Opportunities. The first thing that I wanted to make you aware of is something called the Home Learning Hub. So you may or may not have seen this before. Again, I'll just show you where that is on the site. So again, you can navigate to it from that top bar there if your career type is set as Home Educator. And what it is, it's basically a source of daily learning inspiration. So we populate it with things that might be linked to topical events. We have links to our live lessons on here. So it's Wednesday today, and the live lesson was World Learners. So you've got links to the resources that accompany that live lesson and links to where you can watch it on Facebook. And you've also got daily news stories on here. You've got other learning prompts, and it's you know, different to sort of Facebook and the social media channels because it's very clear to see, it's very easy to use. It just aims to present some things that might be useful to you on any given day, and you can just head over to it and see, right, well, is this for me today? Is this for me today? And so on. So one of the other things that it does is there are 3 clubs a week, and there is an activity set via the Home Learning Hub that you and your learners can join in with. So we have an art club where there's an artistic task. We have a Minecraft or block adventurer club where you can make a creation. And then we have a mindfulness club too. And if you take part in any of those club activities, you're encouraged to record or document what you did and add it to our sharing thread in the Facebook group. So yeah, really simply, you know, without going into too much detail, that is something that is worth getting familiar with and just checking out, because there might be something useful for you on there on any given day. Right, Planet is the next thing that I wanted to mention. So in a nutshell, Planet is a comprehensive teaching scheme which takes the entire 2014 national curriculum for key stages 1 and 2 and puts it into a scheme of work which covers all of the subjects in the form of lesson packs, topics and units. So in other words, if you were to start in year 1 and do every Planet pack for every subject all the way up to year 6, you would know that you have covered the entire English national curriculum, which of course is not something that everybody wants to do, but it's a really great resource for home educators because there's stuff here that is not available anywhere else on Twinkl. It can be it can take a little bit of getting used to because the packs are written with teachers in mind, but the great thing about Planet is the packs are uniform. So if you've used one pack, then the next pack is going to be set out in exactly the same way, and it's going to contain the same elements. So we have made some videos on our YouTube channel about kind of unpacking Planet packs and getting familiar with them and understanding how to use them. And those are a great place to start, because this just exists. It's waiting for you. You can, you know, make it work for you. You can take individual lessons. You can take bits of individual lessons once you've got used to navigating a pack. You can take whole units. You can take whole year groups. You can pretty much do anything you want with it. So I would recommend, you know, whether you're interested in following the curriculum or not, having a little look at this, watching one of our videos and seeing if you think that it could be a useful one for you and your family. And it's probably worth pointing out that some of our live lessons, our popular live lessons, are very much based on these Planet packs as well. So some of our live lessons give you a little bit of insight into the usefulness of these packs. So that's Planet. And then I did just mention live lessons there, and I think Rachel, you're going to talk to us a little bit more about what we offer with our live lessons program.
Yeah, so we've been doing live lessons. Well, Chrissy started over a year ago, so we've been doing them for a while now. So each day there is a different live lesson that you can join in on, and it's absolutely free, and you can access that on our Facebook page, or you can go straight to YouTube and watch it live and catch up anytime, or catch up on any previous units. So just briefly through the week, Monday is me, and it's kind of primary aged roughly, but there's some younger and some older that come along, and it's kind of a story based. It's kind of story, science, and a scraptastic activity, all to do with a nature topic. And then on the Tuesday, we've got Time Explorers, which is our history kind of thread. And that's, I think, again, all ages, and especially with Home Ed, you might have lots of different ages at home that can access it. And so, but it's especially good, I think, for upper Key Stage 2 and Key Stage 3 as well. And the same for World Learners. That's with Chrissy. So she's a qualified and very experienced humanities teacher, so she kind of can dive deep on that and has a lot of focus on skills. And then Thursday is Imagination Station, which is with Kirsty, and so that's for the younger ones. So my 8-year-old kind of is probably the top end, I think, of that, but it's kind of storytelling and getting their imagination going and so on, and being able to retell things and so on. And then on Friday, we have one of the Twinkl original books that we go through. And so Chrissy will take a chapter a week and discuss that, and there'll be activities from that. And so, like I said, you can literally just go to YouTube, you can watch them, and it can be just, it's raining outside, you need something quiet, and you want to grab a cup of tea or get a few jobs done. Like, it can be kind of like a free tutor session, I guess, for your kids to sit and watch. But then all of them have unit packs kind of around them, either a Planet unit, or for me, I have lots of links and planning guides that you could do. So you could take that one session, say the Pathfinders and Nature Studies, and then do your science that week, all about it. And there'll be lots of recommended resources for you to use with that. And similar for all the other groups as well. So you can make it kind of a spine for some of the things that you're studying. So I know some people are doing that for nature studies, or they might choose that for their history topic, and then they can kind of go off as much as they want from it. And like it says on the slide, you can go back and watch whole units as well. So then you can kind of go at your own pace as well if you want to. There's history, geography, all sorts of topics that you can have a look through. So yeah, and I know some people put some questions in the end, in the comments about live lessons. So someone asked about Pathfinders, whether it's suitable for 13-year-olds. There are definitely some kind of 11 to 13-year-olds who enjoy it and access it, but you'd probably then have to do a little bit on your own with some of the resources that we suggest for you to kind of extend it yourself at home. But put any other questions in, because I know at the end we are going to have a question time as well, so we can answer any about live lessons.
Yeah, and this is well worth highlighting, because this is a piece of work that we've done recently, because we've probably been doing live lessons for about 2 years now, but we've, continually been sort of refining what we offer and, paying attention to what it is you seem to want, and, trying to yeah, trying to be as most use to as many people as possible. And what we've done in the process is we've created quite a back catalogue. So if you go to this, is you can find this via the blog section. It's just called Browse the Complete Back Catalogue. And so each of these icons represents a whole unit of lessons. There's 5 units there aimed at EYFS learners, 5 units aimed at Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 learners. There's actually, you know, there's I have no idea how long it would take you to do all of those, but there's quite a back catalogue there. So it's well worth dipping into that, because again, you know, as with everything we're talking about in this section, it's ready to go for you with zero preparation. Is there anything else we need to talk about? What's tomorrow, Rachel? It's Imagination Station tomorrow, isn't it? At 11 o'clock.
Based around camping.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can find that on our Facebook and on our YouTube channel. And then Friday is book club, and then it begins again. So you can depend on it. You know, the time slots are set, and it can become part of your weekly routine or not, and you can dip in and out. Okay, so we are continuing the theme of things that we have done that you can just grab and go with. A format that we have developed, which actually began during lockdown when we were all stuck in our houses and we wanted to give people a little bit of an escape. We started the idea of virtual adventures, like heading off to different far-flung places around the world. And those original virtual adventures, we incorporated an element of exercise. So we kind of linked it into the government, you know, allowance of 1 walk per day. And we had people using tracking sheets to walk towards a specified goal. But the virtual adventures in essence are, you know, story-based PowerPoints where we set out to engage learners in, you know, a certain area of the world, and then follow that up with all sorts of possibilities to deepen that adventure with links that are in special sort of accompanying blogs. And I just realized I've explained that, and you were going to, weren't you, on this one?
All right. No, that's perfect. So yeah, each virtual adventure comes with like a really interesting way of tracking it. So it might be a boat around the Japanese islands, or it could be we had a greenhouse that you built and added things to the last one. So people really like that. And they're written by home educators for home educators. So these are different than the Planet units. They're aimed for like multiple ages, for going down rabbit trails, and they're kind of definitely planned with home educators in mind. So you have a way of tracking what you're doing. You have the PowerPoint that kind of holds your hand through it, but it doesn't dictate like lesson 1 is here, lesson 2 is here. You can kind of adjust it how you want for your family. Some people will spend the whole week and just kind of blitz it and do everything about it. Some people will do it week by week, and then they come with a field guide. The field guide is a blog that then will have, I don't know, 100 links probably of different things you could do to follow up on it. So the last one was all about virtual botanical adventure. We had live lessons as well linked to it. We had some fun kind of challenges for the community to do together that Alice is going to end up getting a pie in his face from losing that challenge.
Always lose.
Yeah, so there's kind of the community aspect as well, where people are sharing alongside. And then the field guide means you can just go as deep as you want. So if you need something that you just want to kind of take over all of your home ed, if you're like that topic-based learning, then these are a great kind of hook and spine to plan around as well.
Yeah, I often recommend these as a starting point. So if you've just come to us and you want a way in, you know, just grabbing one of these, sitting down together, looking through it, you know, deciding how much it sparked your interest, how deep you want to go into it, and just kind of getting used to the idea that it's up to you to make it 5 days or 5 weeks. You know, it's completely your call, and it can just depend on how much you're enjoying it. And I suppose the other thing to point out is that we've done the last 5 of these since the Amazon adventure in partnership with an embroidered badge making company called Paw Print Family, who you may be familiar with. So they make a badge that accompanies each of our virtual adventures, and then you can award that to your learners at the completion of the adventure, or you can award the certificate that comes as part of every virtual adventure pack too. Anything else on those, Rachel?
No, I think that covers it. They are great. I think they're great for lots of different styles as well. Some people who like very structured and kind of were sitting and doing this at a certain time enjoy it. People who just kind of like to go off on rabbit trails and have their kids ask questions and then go off somewhere else, and kind of does suit all of those different styles. So yeah, I think if you're wondering whether to start with a unit topic, like Alistair said, I think these would be best to start with, and then maybe explore the planet afterwards as well, once you've kind of gotten a bit used to the website.
Yep, brilliant. So again, something that is easy to get into is some of our community learning initiatives. So I've talked about the online community we have, and something that we've been keen to do right from the start, I guess, is involve people in doing the same thing at the same time, because it's something that is not always available in in your life as a home educator. So we love bringing our community together around a learning opportunity, and we have several things that run over the course of a typical year. So we've got a couple of cooking and baking based challenges. So we run something which is called our Plate Up Challenge, which has just finished actually, which began in March, and is a 6-week kind of cooking, more savory, like more meal based cooking competition, where you download the pack and you make your learners make a different recipe each week and share the results on a sharing thread in our Facebook group, and we have prizes each week. If you've been around a little while, you may have come across our Bake Off Challenge, which runs in line with the TV series each sort of September, October, November. Runs for longer. I think it's a 10-week challenge normally, and it works in exactly the same way. So there's a recipe each week. We're not always able to get it exactly in step with the TV show, because we don't necessarily know what they're going to do each week until they do it. But we have our own challenge pack, and people go off and make these incredible creations and then share them in our Facebook group each week. And of course, all sorts of learning comes from the process of cooking, the process of evaluating, the measuring out the ingredients, the designing and all the rest of it. And I think it's something that's quite well appreciated in home ed circles, the benefits of baking and cooking for learners. We have another initiative called our World Explorers project, which will be coming around again later on this year. And that's where we have a shared focus on sort of darting around the world and studying different countries. So we did that with 7 different countries last year, providing a postcard that you could mail back, from that country to your learner to initiate the topic, and then a PowerPoint and a photo pack about that country as a starting point for further research. And that is coming back, as I say, later on this year. We have we ran our first ever Page of Nature competition last year. And so that was to celebrate the connection between home educating families and nature. It was a competition that was designed to be simple. So the idea was that it says what you have to do in the name of the competition, Page of Nature. So it was just about choosing a subject and creating any page, whether it was photography or writing or drawing or sketching or any medium of your choice, and submitting it as an entry into the competition. And that was got off to a really good start last year. We had some fantastic entries, and we'll be looking to bring that back bigger and better this year around about November time. So look out for that, because again, that is a ready to go focus. And then we always like to run something over the summer. We appreciate that, some people switch off a little bit over the summer. Dynamics might change a little bit in your house, but we do find that some people enjoy having a focus which continues over the summer months. And this week we're putting together some challenges for you, just to, that are there in case people want them over those summer months. Anything I've missed, Rachel?
No, I think the thing I would add is for my kids, they get inspired by seeing like other kids' creations, and that's what these are really good at, because people share what they've made. People do amazing, like the page of nature was, it was amazing to look through all the entries and so on, and it was really inspiring for like my kids to see, because they don't necessarily have that same opportunity as you might in school where everyone's doing the same project all together. So it is a really nice way of kind of building a community for your kids as well and inspiring from that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's the sort of essence of it, I suppose, isn't it? Good. Okay, so we're still in the ready to go stuff, the off the peg stuff, and we have various curriculum maps that you can just pick up and go with. So if you want something to tell you basically what to do and when to do it, these are the things to download from our website. So we talked about Planet. We talked about how if you did all the units, you would basically cover the curriculum. So we've created a map that maps those units out by term and by week and so on. And so you can just download that, the Key Stage 1 and 2 curriculum map, and it will guide you through what units to do and when to do it. So all you need to do is a little bit of prep in terms of figuring out how the units work, and then you're good to go with that. We also have some Key Stage 3 curriculum maps made by our colleagues in the Beyond team for science, English and maths, which serve a similar purpose. So if you're looking for a scheme of work for your secondary age or stage learner, year 7, 8 or 9, you can download those. And again, they'll tell you, link to packs that exist on the site and tell you what you can do and when you can do it. And then more recently, we've added a Key Stage 3 curriculum map, which brings in some of the non-core Key Stage 3 subjects and gives you a sort of bigger, wider lens and way to approach the whole of Key Stage 3. So those are really helpful if you want, you know, guidance on academic things and when to do them. Right, so that covers a little overview of things that are ready to go for you. What we're going to talk about next is just, I guess, things that you can explore beyond that, ways to start sort of chiseling little niches into the other stuff that we offer and finding things that work for you. And I think the way I always think about Twinkl and the value it offers is it is essentially lots and lots of different subscriptions in one, which is why we hope a webinar like this might help you to realize what you get for your money and possibly save your money elsewhere. I think, yeah, there's a lot to get into. So one of the first things possibly to point out, as we mentioned it earlier, is that it's a lot more than just worksheets. So what we've done on this page is picked out a few resource types that you might want to try if you haven't already. Some of them made specifically for home educating families, some that are just pre-existing on the site that are useful for us. So we'll just pick a few out, I think, and Rachel might pick one or two out too. And yeah, just quickly name check some of those. So I mentioned it on the home page that our maths mysteries are very popular with home educating families. If you haven't seen them, basically how it works is you have a big long list of suspects and an imaginary crime, a heinous crime has been committed, and you work your way through 6 or 7 worksheets related to a similar strand of maths, and in each worksheet the answer eliminates some of the possible suspects, and so you kind of work your way down until there is only one suspect left, and therefore you have identified the perpetrator of the crime. And we see that those are just enduringly popular with our home ed families. The learners don't tend to think of them as work because they're kind of engaged in this process of elimination. But actually they're covering sort of 7 different strands of a topic in order to complete them. So that's a great one to look at if you haven't seen those before. Our CSI investigations is a resource type, again, that we've developed specifically for use in home ed families. So we take some of the most engaging unsolved mysteries. So the Loch Ness Monster is a good example. And then we bring all sorts of skills and activities into the creation of sort of, like thinking about the evidence, the validity of it, evaluating the reliability of sources, assembling a sort of picture, building a timeline, and yeah, just establishing a theory about what you think the truth is in each of these situations. So those are really, really good and really, really popular. And we've got a growing range, and we've got some really exciting ones coming out later in this year as well, which we'll just mention towards the end as we finish. So yeah, I mean, some of the other things, we've got obviously information PowerPoint. So anything that comes up in the course of your discussions or conversations, whatever it is, ladybirds or recycling, you know, you can hop onto Twinkl and find something to support further discussions about that. And of course, the topical resources. So the coronation was a great example. So for a week or two in the build up to the coronation, we saw that our downloads began to be dominated by people downloading packs and, you know, party resources and decorations and bunting and history and all the rest of it. And so I think topical content is something that people will often turn to us for, and will always find relevant resources for. So yeah, there's a few other things on there. I don't know if I've used up all the best ones, Rachel, if you wanted to pick out anything to talk about.
Yeah, because for me, I kind of treated Twinkl when I first started as kind of like a Google for home ed. So any topic that my kids came up with, I would put it in. But then I've also, so I know it mentions workbooks, and workbooks, I know people, it's like, it's kind of bread and butter. We're quite an unschooly family, and I was able to kind of put very simple workbooks together and bind them together. And I think a lot of people in our home ed group do that as well. And you tend to find like your favorite resources. So like I put a spelling one together that might have like word searches or games, and you can kind of, the more you kind of peruse it, the more you can use some of those kind of basic things to your advantage as well. And the crafts, I think, and so on, and recipes are really handy because there's so many. So you can literally Google whatever it might be. Like Alice was saying, ladybirds, that's what we're doing in Pathfinders next in a couple of weeks. And I just type in ladybirds, and there's recipes, there's videos, there's PowerPoints, there's quizzes, there's all sorts of things. So I think sometimes you just have to kind of get stuck in, and then you do find your little niche as well that you want. So sorry, I was just looking at some of the questions. We will cover those at the end as well. And the interactive games, the Twinkl Go games as well, are really good. I don't know if you'll be mentioning Twinkl Go later, but yeah, it's just the idea that everything is in one place. And so it's not a case of remembering 20 different passwords for all your different things as well. I find it fun.
Yeah, and the resource types do tend to repeat. So, you know, if you find one that works for you, the chances are you'll find more of it as well. So it's just worth getting to know what we have and what works for you. I mean, lap books are another one possibly to point out, because they're, again, pretty much an instant project. And, you know, they come with stuff that's basically ready to sort of pre-assemble and make a lovely finished project. But of course, you can add as much or as little to that from your own research and your own investigations as you like to. So they're a really good starting point and popular with home educators. So yeah, another one that you can refer to on our blog section is our top 10 downloads. So if you're interested to know what other home educators are downloading on any given week, you can head over there. So you can see this week, for example, we've got our wildflower ID guides. We've got a gemstones and crystals pack. We've got Rachel's Pathfinders resource in the top, 2 of your resources in the top 10 this week, Rachel. We've got some coronation stuff, explore your local area. So yeah, some interesting things there, and that's quite a good way to keep tabs on what other people are downloading. Things are normally popular for a reason. So yeah, so types of resource. Okay, so and then we're just going to talk about how you can take things a little bit further, and I think this is the one that we've had to be careful not to dwell on too much, because we can quite quickly sort of zone people out if we talk too much about some of the other areas of Twinkl. So I think what we'll do for now is enough to sort of explain the structure that Twinkl is made up of products. So it's made up of different teams that specialize in a particular thing, making new stuff, to support educators. And so it's just a case of getting to know what some of those products are on Twinkl and whether those are things that are useful for your family. So a good example is Beyond, which is a product in itself, which is the suite of resources which is made for secondary teachers and secondary learners, basically. So anything that is in Beyond is aimed at secondary age students. And again, that's a massive area of the site. You can see it. I'll just show you quickly because we've got a quick link there. I mean, that's something like, I think 80 to 100,000 resources on its own, and that is, fully comprehensive, particularly for English, maths and science, resource site for secondary age and stage learners. Then you've got things like Twinkl Originals, which is the original book, fiction and non-fiction content created by that team on Twinkl. And those are the books which are sent out as part of Book Club for anybody with an ultimate subscription. You have Imagine, which is another, again, a whole scheme of, I guess, learning, designed to inspire learning, to promote curiosity based around images. So that's a great one to pick out. There literally is an activity and a photo for every single day of the year. Create is your opportunity to make your own worksheets using Twinkl illustrations. Rachel talked about Twinkl Go, which is the interactive games. We've got Newsroom, which is daily news stories. We've got a DFE accredited phonics program, which will take your learners from, the very beginning, the very first phase through to fluency in reading. And that's supported by the Rhino Readers Learn to Read program. And then we have various partnerships going on. So at the moment, for example, working with Sony on Spider-Man resources. We're working with Ferrari on STEM resources around Formula One. We've just had a really successful partnership with Super Mario for that film, which came out recently. So just on the products, just want to introduce you to this area at the bottom, this gray area at the bottom of any Twinkl page, because I want to just come back to this once or twice in the next few minutes, because this is a great place to extend your explorations. So you can see, I'm just trying to think exactly where it is there, product overviews. So that, if you click on it, is going to take you to some of those icons that we've just talked about. And you can click on any of those and it's going to give you a short video explaining the product, and it's going to give you a doorway into that particular product. So you could start to have a look around and see what else you are getting in just this one subscription. I'm going to close a few of these down before I go back to the PowerPoint before we get drowned by them. So yeah, any products that you want to pick out, Rachel?
I mean, my favorites are the life planning type, so the ones that are for adults and they're not particularly linked to schools or teaching or anything, so you can make your own little planners. If you forget someone's birthday, you can print off a birthday card. So there's a lot of stuff in there that's just handy for you as an adult as well, like unrelated to Home Ed. Displays as well, so there's an art gallery. If you want stuff up on the wall but you don't want it to look very schooly, then the art gallery has really lovely posters that can still kind of inspire or cover some of the topics, but in a much more kind of Home Ed friendly way. That's another one of my favorites.
Yeah, so we'll come on to that now, because the things that Rachel was describing.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's perfect, because they are part of the Twinkl Plus range. So yeah, I mean, these are just bonuses. So these are not something that you would ever in a million years perhaps expect to get with your subscription to this resource provider. But as Rachel says, are a great add-on bonus. So we have, and again, the gray bit at the bottom is perfect for this. So if I just zoom down to the bottom here, all of these kind of products here that are set out in this third column come under the Twinkl Plus umbrella. So you've got art gallery, which is literally, you know, nice interior decorations, downloadable posters with a different look to the rest of the Twinkl stuff that you can use to decorate your home. Crafts, yeah, all sorts of crafts possibilities, again, that, you know, look slightly different to the main body of Twinkl resources. You've got a board games section, you've got essentials, you've got a pet section, plant care, and then you've got these 3D and AR models as well. So I tried to sort of set a few of them out on this slide. Stationery is another one. There's interactive puzzles. And, you know, again, it's something that you just need to explore, like maybe take them one section at a time in that, from that grey section at the bottom of any Twinkl page, and just have a little look around, and chances are you're likely to find something that is of use or of interest. So we also have a range of apps that complement what we do on the main site. They obviously work on your tablets and your phones too. Again, it's one to explore, but there are several of the apps that work on any device, and there are some that, because of the technology they employ, work only on Apple devices. So you've got our Originals books on the Originals app as ebooks. Basically, you can get an app which is a way that you can interface and access the Twinkl website. We have coding apps. We've got our Rhino Readers apps, and there are supporting app tools like the 100 Square one, which can make learning easier. And then phonics on the and Rhino Readers on the Apple devices as well. So that's definitely worth looking at too. Again, you can access the app section from that grey area at the bottom of the site. And then I was just going to suggest different ways that you can explore, because I think that's the key point, is, you know, you sort of push out in different directions on your own and see what you're getting. So I think Rachel mentioned earlier about just searching for a topic, and that is obviously the way that people find most of their stuff on Twinkl. So if we're on any, or we can search up there. So Rachel mentioned the idea of searching for ladybirds and seeing what comes up. That's probably the most intuitive and obvious place to start. But the other things I've mentioned is looking at categories. So you can start to explore the way the site is structured, and that can give you an insight into where to find things and what you might expect to find. So if you're on the Home Ed homepage and you dive into projects and lap books, then you're going to see it broken down here, and you'll find our virtual expeditions category, which we mentioned earlier, and you can explore everything that is related to virtual expeditions rather than getting a more random result from what you searched. Learning passports, maybe you want something to check off the subjects that you're studying, or the elements of a subject as you go. So that is a great way that you might not think of, because you'll probably naturally be drawn to the search to look around the site and see what it's got to offer. The products we've spoken about, and that can be a way into seeing different types of resource as well. And then the final thing I wanted to mention is just countries, because obviously increasingly Twinkl is global, which means that we've got content creation teams working away in a variety of countries. If you go down past the light grey area into the dark grey area, you're going to see all sorts of links to different countries. So maybe you are studying something in a particular country, maybe you're sitting across two countries, maybe you're just curious, but you can click on any of these and you can bring up a whole new world, literally, of resources that have been created for use in other countries, but may well be of use and interest. So I know that's getting a lot now, and there's a lot to think about there. So I think I don't know if there's anything else you want to add about exploration Rachel, further explanation. What's definitely noteworthy is that we're often finding new things, even on the Home Ed team. Somebody will find something new and we'll share it in a meeting and be like, oh, didn't realize we had that. So yeah, there's a lot there.
In the past, I've given myself a time limit because otherwise I will just go on for ages and ages. So I'll say, okay, I've got 15 minutes and anything I find on that topic is what I'll have. And that's quite helpful to kind of get rid of the overwhelm. And also when you search, you can filter at the side. So you can filter different ages, you can filter free things. That one's quite helpful as well. If you want ladybirds, but for 11 plus, you can then search it and that'll filter out some of the overwhelm as well.
I don't know if I'm still on Nigeria here. So yeah, so we can filter it by age, by whether it's free or not, whether it's new, whether it's in English, and so you can you can refine your search in that way too. Love the idea of the timer. Maybe we should do that.
Well, we did it first with the videos, the binder videos. So I set myself, I'm going to make a spelling booklet and I've got 10 minutes to find it, because you can just go on endlessly.
I mean, we do hear it a lot, don't we, that people disappear down the Twinkl rabbit hole for days, weeks and months at a time. Yeah, so we'll try and send help if that happens. Okay, so just a little bit on what there is still to look forward to this year to finish off. So at the beginning of this year, we created a planning map which mapped out some of the key resources that we plan to bring you over the rest of the year. This is available and downloadable from the site. It does feature, it's well worth a look, because we are committed to bringing you these things during these months at these times of the year. So just on the CSIs that I mentioned earlier, you can see that we've got Lost City of Atlantis coming your way. There's one on Stonehenge. We have a Roswell Area 51 CSI investigation and a Kennedy assassination CSI coming too. That's the World Explorers stuff that I talked about, and you can see which virtual adventures we're planning on bringing you later in the year too. We have just recently finished our first ever Twinkl Home Educators conference, and that consisted of 33 webinars on a wide variety of subjects, some of which I've put here just to add a flavor. This is a pretty random selection, but a lot of the things that we've talked about this evening briefly are explored in more detail in some of these webinars, and that's all available on our YouTube channel. I've got it up here. So when you go to our YouTube channel at the moment, what we've got at the top of the sort of title page is the live lesson playlist, but then just underneath, all of the webinars from the conference are sitting there waiting for your attention if you think they might be useful. So that's definitely worth mentioning. Then we have an opportunity to sign up to Twinkl, whether you are a member already or not. It's a great opportunity to either take advantage of a big discount or to extend an existing membership. And that is coming around very soon. In less than 2 weeks now, there will be discounts of about 27 to 30% off annual subscriptions for all levels of subscription. And there'll be more details on that coming through those channels of communication that I mentioned right back at the very beginning. And yeah, lots more still to come this year. So we've got the summer challenges. We run a not back to school week every September, which is kind of our celebration of everything Home Ed. World Explorers, Page of Nature, virtual adventures we've mentioned before. Time Travel Tales is a brand new resource format that we've developed, which is going to take learners back into various kind of little explored periods of history via a specially made illustration that gives a snapshot of maybe a village or something happening in that period of time, and invites learners to focus in on the specific activities that are going on in that picture and uncover what's happening. And of course, there'll be lots more live lessons and also our bake-off challenge to come later in the year too. And I have managed to reach the end of the slides that we have for you this evening. Sorry, it's been quite long and involved, but it is the challenge to sort of present quite a lot to you, but keep it relatively brief and accessible as well.